The favorites, we here for the latest. South side or the north side, not tuned to the greatest. Home team for the home teams. Both sides got our own rings. On the mound or the long ball, but we don't put the wrong strings. Yeah, it's that time of the year now. Wrigley or Gantes or the whole league that we hear now. New show with a new mood. Discussions and interviews. Trade rumors that might be. This is Pinwheels and Knife.
We go with the retweets and everything?
No.
Yep.
Oh, we got a no and a yep. All right. It's good that we're on the same page to start out with.
Yeah, no.
All right. Let me get that there. All right.
Bam.
All right. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, May 18th, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. I am your host, Matt Zawoski, a.k.a. Southside Zoe, a.k.a. Father Zoe. And with me, as always, Mr. Aldo Soto, sporting a healthy head of hair today.
Ooh. I gotta let the flow out before I get a haircut soon. But I just want to say, if both of our teams just had more Morels, more Burgers, more Roberts, more Suzukis, we'd be set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fuck the punt. Give me the home run, baby.
We'd be talking fucking first place teams right now.
Yeah.
And then, well, right now there's our sophomore super celebrity NASCAR Mitch.
What's up?
We're
rocking the Busch Light hat in honor of you and Kevin Harvick, but mostly you, though, if we're being honest.
I appreciate it. And Fidz, mic check.
Mic check.
Hey! Oh, and then he's back to muted. Shit. Now he's unmuted. All right.
Oh, mother.
And there's the good Reverend K. Fidz. We were having a little technical issue. That's why we're a little late, but
I know I wasn't the cause for why we were late, which I usually am. Usually when Mitch's late, the more you want to wait. But today was just Kevin's mic not working. So not
blame the ghost of Steve Jobs, asshole.
Yep. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I can tell you one thing is for sure with Chicago baseball right now. It's not really what any of us expected going into the season. A lot of prediction shows were just wrong.
Including this one.
Oh, very much including this one. I am not throwing any shade. Very much. So yeah, we're just going to talk about, we're pretty much at a quarter of the season, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So after a quarter
poll.
Yeah, we'll do the Lovey Smith after the first quarter of the season here. We'll talk about basically what the hell is going on, because it's all over the place. And we just had at our pre-show meeting, I think Aldo or Mitch said something and I had to respond to it, and it just like clicked this thing in my head where it's absolutely wild. So we're gonna need to talk about that. And who knows where this is gonna go, honestly. This season, this show is just, who knows. Keeps you on your toes though.
It's like a Vonnegut novel.
It's so provocative. Keeps the people coming back. So all that and much more. Let's tap this keg. As always, this show is brought to you by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Go download the app, turn on push notifications. There's a lot of things that can be pushed out to you. Hawks got the first pick. Bears are going to be good. There's definitely baseball being played. So Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. And make sure you read Mitch's and all those articles, you jerks. And also Uncle Bud's, 90s, we'll call it 700 South Cicero Avenue in Oak Lawn. Summer menu is about to go live. They got stuff going on every night.
Ooh.
A lot more live music if that's your thing. So Uncle Bud's, check them out. So before we dive in here, fellas, I'm going to steal things for a minute. I just want to say I know I was gone last week, and it's been kind of really fucked up 2 weeks for me. But I can't tell you how many people from this show, I mean, of course you three, but the people that watch this show, the people from White Sox Twitter, like people I've never even like met in person, who reached out to me and like sincerely like gave me their condolences and said a lot of really nice things. So I just want to say that will not be forgotten. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. All right. Just had to get that out of the way because, yeah, it's been a fucked up week. But let's talk about baseball, because as I mentioned in my video, what sports are supposed to be is fun, and what sports is supposed to be is a distraction. And I was going back and forth if I was going to be able to get my shit together to do this tonight. And my wife actually said, Mrs. O was like, why wouldn't you go? You're the happiest after you do your shows on Wednesday night. Go do your fucking show. And for those of you new here, I don't really not do what Mrs. O says. So, so we're here. So what I was alluding to in the intro here is we were talking about the title of this episode that Aldo made, because he's our wordsmith here, where it says trade everyone and build around Luis Robert Jr. We're going to talk a little bit more about Luis in just a second. But then I can't remember which one of you guys just said it, but it was like Jake Berger, as our friend Baloney in the comments said, fist fucked the baseball as we were about to go live here. And I think it was Aldo. He said, I got to change the title because it should be build around Luis Robert and Jake Berger. And then it like hit me like a wave of like self-realization. Could you imagine if one of us said that a year ago?
Insane.
Like, not joking around.
I think wasn't he still at AAA like last year by this
Wasn't
time?
No, he was in around this time. He had like another hot streak in May because he had a game-winning homer against, I remember, Boston, and then a couple weeks later he had a pinch hit home run against Tampa. He was like coming up clutch for May, and then everyone's like, "Hey, he's good," and then Eloy came back.
Yep. No, I remember the home run against Boston because for some reason that's one of them that's stuck in my head. But yeah, I mean, Aldo jokingly said, "Hey, Rick Hahn nailed the first round pick."
Got one.
Of all those first round picks,
yeah,
it's the guy who tore his both
Achilles. I think, are the same
both
one
Achilles.
The Achilles.
Yeah, that's the guy that hit. I mean, Andrew Vaughn's definitely coming around. And I know, Fidge, you've been paying a close attention to it. Vaughn currently right now leads the team in RBIs.
It's hard to miss, though, when you have the third overall pick.
You want to talk to Nick Madrigal about that? But Vaughn's coming around.
You guys want him back? You still need a second baseman, damn it. You still don't front. You guys still need a second baseman.
The White Sox middle infield is a joke right now.
He'll pair up perfectly with Tim Anderson.
And the bad base running.
I definitely, though, see an improvement in Andrew Vaughn, but let's start on a very positive note. Let's talk about the best player in Major League Baseball.
Who just made that play?
In the month of May. I got to preference that. In the month of May, but Luis Robert Jr., folks. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a heater. And even with the best player in the league on their team, the White Sox are currently 7-7 in the month of May. We don't really need to.
They weren't lying when they said he's the next Mike Trout. I mean, carrying the team, but they're still going to lose in spite of his efforts.
Hey, if you look at the numbers, better than Trout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Better.
It's finally happening. Torch. Robert's going to become the best player in baseball, and the White Sox will not make the playoffs.
So,
having the best player in baseball.
In the month of May, as we stand here on recording on May 17th, Luis Robert is hitting 408, 491, 939 with an OPS of 1.430 with 7 home runs, 15 RBIs. I mean,
I think he's already matched his home run total from last year.
Yes. And
ever since your tweets, though.
Yeah. It worked, though.
Hey, somebody listened. Yeah.
Somebody listened and unplugged them and plugged them back in because it worked. But he, oh shit. Clevenger just throwing at people now. But his home run total is good he's leading the AL. I mean, this is the guy that we all envisioned because the Gold Glove defense is there. And Mitch made a great point pre-show. Like, even when he sucked in April, like he went through that where I said it should be unplugged. I mean, he hit 202 in April, but even when he was bad in April, the defense was still there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a great point by Mitch. And so now you're getting the Gold Glove defense with this absolute tear at the plate. And now you're getting that 5-tool player that we finally been clamoring for. And I have it bookmarked on Twitter. I'm not going to say the website because I really don't want to start shit, but the article that went up about how it's time to trade Luis Robert Jr. and how he's dog shit and how we're all clamoring for this and like all this stuff. I love to read that article after he hits home runs. It makes me this entire month. It's just I've read that article probably 8 times. Well, I've read it at least 7 because it's after he hits a home run. But
is this the same publication that had one of their editors that was dead set that Tim Anderson said I hate it here? Is it the same one we're thinking of?
I don't know. It might.
I used to work for said.
Well, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
little Bartle's coached over here. They're like, this guy has bad takes. He can work for Sports Mockery.
Yeah, that's pretty much our hiring process. But I mean, to Don's comment here, I don't really believe they're going to trade everyone off. But I mean, you got to think as it stands right now. I know he's under. Whoa, sorry, the ESPN app just played a random ad in my ear. You got to think that the way things are trending right now, Luis Robert's going to be the highest paid White Sox player of all time.
Yeah, you would think.
Well,
so.
You would hope so.
You should.
Okay.
Should be.
There's the fact that we were all hesitant after that sentence tells you a whole lot about.
Because that's the thing. He's still signed. Because the way Jerry Reinsdorf probably sees, he was like, "Oh, this is great. We finally got the star player. We got him locked up for like 3 more years, I think. So let's just see where it goes."
Take advantage of the window there, Rick. Yeah, and see, like that's the thing when, like, realistically. And like we said, like this division always gives you some semblance of hope. Like the White Sox can play like dog shit for a week, but then they have that one good-looking win against Cleveland on Tuesday. You're like, we're back, baby.
And they light up the scoreboard
the division's so bad.
Cincinnati.
It's like, well, this division stinks, so like we have a chance. I think if it was any other division, or if Rick Hahn was the general manager, like realistically, you'd be like, yeah, we should probably sell off some of our assets. Like I would say, like you trade the guys who are expiring deals, like Hendricks. I know it sucks. But like Giolito, probably have to deal him. TA too, especially with him because he's got the team option next year. Yep. He has a lot. He'd be your most valuable trade chip.
TA is the biggest trade chip they have right now.
The problem is I don't trust the boobs in the front office to do another full scale rebuild. So if you were going to trade people, it would have to be more of like a retool. Because one, you're not going to have them trade off all your assets at the deadline and then hire a new general manager. Because then that just makes no sense. So the only players I could see them trading, if you were going to do that route, would just be the people whose deals are expiring after this year. And then you'd have a new guy come in and assess the roster and be like, do we want to build around Cease and Robert, or do we want to continue trading off our assets?
And I mean, for how well Luis Robert's been playing, Tim Anderson has been just as bad. Like he's been, people really aren't talking about it that much because it's TA, and you're like, all right, TA is going to turn it around. I still think guys, it's May. There's still plenty. He's coming off an injury too. And he's coming off an injury, but right now, I mean, in May, he's only got 12 hits in May, batting 222, 276, 222 slugging with a 498 OPS. It's rough from the leadoff position.
It's a small sample size, though.
No, that's the thing, though. It goes back to goes back to a year ago.
It's not just this season.
He was shut down in August, I think.
Yeah.
And he had an injury earlier in the season too when he missed, I think, most of June, I think.
Yeah.
Or May, whatever month it was.
And then they just decided to shut him down.
Yeah. But he's been like this bad going back to like the last 2 months of last year. I know it was coming off the injuries and he had all this personal shit.
Right.
But that's still part of that sample size that he's
I think the biggest concern for me is the lack of power, because all of a sudden like the home run totals just dropped off. But even last year when he was bad, he was still hit 301. And like he was dealing with that injury most of the year, and then he's
on the season.
He's getting the benefit of the doubt just because he's been good for so long. The power thing is a bit concerning, though.
Well, Fitz, isn't it like an old coaching adage? Like you can really judge how a player's going after 100 at bats.
I mean, generally, that's also the adjustment moment. That's and especially at the major league level, you get 100, 120 at bats. The league has enough tape on you now to start making an organized game plan that's a little bit more coherent than just kind of like try and see what works and test for vulnerability. So that's a big part of it. Is if you're seeing someone excelling after like 100, 120 at bats, you're starting to see somebody that's beyond just the adjustment period too. So that's a consistent sample size enough to make a judgment.
And the reason I ask is because as before the game tonight, TA was at 101 at bats for the season, slashing 257, 299, 307 with an OPS of 606. I mean, that's a larger sample size than just a month. Like it's been rough, and I've said it throughout the duration of this off the field bullshit. I don't know how much that affects TA. I don't know TA personally. I don't know what's going on. Yes, you can pinpoint the numbers like Baloney in the chat here. His WRC plus under 70 since the whole shit happened. But then you look, on Mother's Day and Sunday, all the players were there with their moms or their wives and their kids. TA's there with his wife and the kids, and they're smiling, happy people. How much of that is a front? I don't know. You don't know. None of us know, but how much that's affecting him between the ears, that's rough too. But at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers, and it's okay, Yumper, I agree with you. It could be he's not fully healthy. What was it? Was it last night or 3 nights ago? He was running something out, and you could tell he was pulling up a little bit. And then Stone even said, he's like, well, you could tell TA's not playing 100% healthy, blah, blah, blah. So could be. The White Sox love to play guys when they're hurt.
Yes, they do. And I think there was a question too, right? When he came back from the rehab assignments, I think early the first few games, he looked even worse, running stuff out and just being at the plate. And they rushed him back too fast.
Yep. Well, to Senior Sox's point, you have to be on base to steal.
That's a good point too. That all comes around. But I mean, and it's a wrist injury. And what's TA, his bread and butter? Flicking the wrist and putting the ball in right center. That wrist injury is going to be a little bit more impactful. But I know how White Sox Twitter works.
That goes to the power stuff too, where he hasn't turned on a ball in a very long time, and that was what he was known for. He
has no home runs this year.
The thing that he's known for is that base hits right, down the line for a double. But he would occasionally turn on balls, get him out to left. He hasn't turned on a ball in what seems like forever.
He had the infamous bat drops, man, and those were always balls that he pulled. He never bat dropped an Oppo home run. And for him to be sitting there at over 100 at bats with no home runs, that's a cause for concern.
And again, I don't think he has rarely any doubles.
What player on this team was in this situation? I'm going to say this now just because I know how shit's been going. I don't care if they're black, white, purple, yellow, whatever the fuck color they are. If you're playing bad baseball, we're going to call it out on you. And that's what's happening right now. There's no rhyme or reason. We're not picking on anyone or doing anything. He is supposed to be a superstar. At the beginning of the year, the talk was this is Tim Anderson's team now when Jose Abreu left. He is fucking struggling.
Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say, I even posted something this week. The thing about Tim Anderson is it's a weird catch-22 when you have guys with his kind of, I guess you want to call it charisma, is that they have absolutely the ability to carry a locker room, to push a locker room into this exciting role. We've called them the straw that stirs the drink enough in this podcast to, if I had $1 for every time we said it, we'd have at least $10. And so you have that, but there's a flip side to that coin that comes with that, because with that capacity to do great things, there's also the capacity on the other side of that, the mirror image of that, which is if a player like that has that kind of charisma and that kind of sway struggles, gets out of their own head, starts, they can crater a locker room. They can destroy a locker room just as much as they could carry one. There's players that'll sit right in the middle and that won't, move the needle either way in a locker room. But you also have guys like Tim Anderson that when shit's going sour, some guys, they're not great teammates when they're not doing well. And I'm not saying that's Tim Anderson, but I am saying that guys like him, if you see a pattern of the White Sox playing really well when he's playing well, but kind of get cancery and snippy when he's not, there's a pattern there. And I don't think that's maybe the case here, but he can crater a locker room.
I see what you mean. Basically, he is such a big personality, such a influential character to his team. When he's not going, it's infectious.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely agree with you. I hate that I have to preference all this shit, but we don't know what's going on in that locker room. No one knows what's going on in that locker room. And Ian, because I love you, I'm going to answer your question. The wrist thing happened last year. That's what shut him down.
Well, he was the middle finger surgery, so it shut him down.
That's what shut him down. But he definitely had a wrist injury at the
before that, yes,
2022. Yeah, that pulled him out too.
The like the other side of the just how bad he's been. Like it hurts. Obviously, it hurts the team overall. It's just season. Such a double-edged sword because again, it's not just TA has like come down from being like the star hitter that he was when he was hitting like 330, winning batting titles. It's that he is now one of your worst hitters on the team.
And he's our leadoff man.
He is hurting you guys actively by being at the plate.
Yep. And especially from that leadoff position. And I've seen some people calling for maybe a little lineup shakeup where, you got a guy like Yoan Moncada who, as our boy Senior Sox just mentioned, just ripped a great RBI single to bring in Benintendi after his double. But he's hot and he's a switch hitter, and switch hitters in the leadoff spot are always a nice, extra to have. But
and Moncada throughout his career, I mean, it's annoying sometimes when he takes like a strike three, but he also has a pretty good walk.
He sees pitches,
very good eye,
and he sees pitches. And would it be the worst thing to shake it up a little bit? I know that could definitely blow up in your face, but are the Cubs playing right now too?
Yeah, Wisdom just made an error.
Okay. I was like, I thought you were making that face after my suggestion that they shake up the
White
Sox lineup. I was like, damn, dude. All right, fuck, man.
Wisdom basically.
Yeah, when Zoe said that for the podcast listeners, it looked like someone just ripped ass in Fids' house.
Like in his mouth.
You might as well rip ass in my mouth if you're going to make a routine error like that on that routine ground ball to extend an inning for Drew Smiley, who's throwing his ass off today.
Yoan's been swinging a good bat. He sees pitches well. I mean, I know he has some pretty outlandish takes out there, but I saw Pinos do a projected lineup, and it had Moncada leading off and Robert batting second. Your two best hitters.
I can get behind that.
1 and 2. Let's get it fucking going. And then you get the news today that Eloy is ahead of schedule. For all you hard asses that are like, oh, his appendix, he should be playing tomorrow. My grandpa flew a World War II jet.
I have to say
one leg.
Don't rush him back either, though. Like,
no,
it's fine.
No, I want Jake to stay up. We don't need Eloy right now.
Hold on, I just got another reinforcement. Yoan Moncada just stole second.
There you go.
It's the shoes.
That's your leadoff.
The shoes.
Well, they're challenging it. And hold on, let me see.
I think he was out, if I'm being honest. In real time, it looked like he was out.
There's
you got Zoe. Tiebreaker vote.
He's safe. Oh, no, he's very safe.
He
is very safe. He's very safe. That'd be a stupid thing if they even challenge it. Oh,
did he say come off the base?
No, he's safe. They didn't challenge it. But anyways, if he's stealing bases now too, this is becoming a no fucking brainer. Try him out at leadoff.
But I think stealing bases is nice, but it's just more of a right now. Who are your best hitters? Like who are giving you the best at bats?
Eloy, or not Eloy? I'm sorry, Yoan Moncada and Luis Robert Jr. And you know who's been?
And Jake Berger, batted him third.
Jake Berger's got pop, and then you know who's sneaky having a decent month, especially lately, is Benintendi.
Grandal's been hitting well though too.
Grandal's been
look at that average
all season.
I almost wouldn't. Hey, I know, I know this was a Tony La Russa thing, but throw TA at 9, man. Flip the lineup.
Why not?
He would not respond well to that.
No, I was going to ask you guys, how do you think TA would respond?
If you put him if you take him out of the leadoff spot and bet him maybe 5th and let him just explain it to him.
He wouldn't be happy with that either.
He wouldn't be really happy, but I think he would roll with it. But if you throw him at the 9th spot and try to give him the whole second leadoff man bullshit, he's going to, I feel like he's going to just shut it down.
What do you think, Kevin? How do you think TA would respond to that?
that flip side of the coin thing again I was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't.
Come on, TA, you can be our second leadoff man.
TA as someone that likes to be shifted out of something that he believes he's the best at. Whether it's shortstop defensively, whether it's in the lineup, I don't think he takes the redirect as well as Luis Robert did when he got
right. And that's exactly what it is.
To Fizz's point, this goes back to when they were in the Machado rumors, and this is before TA kind of broke onto the scene as the batting champion we all know and love. They're asking hey, would you be okay with moving positions? It's yeah, I would want Machado, but shortstop's fine. No, Machado at this point was objectively a better shortstop at that point of his career. But he's like, yeah, no, he's not getting shortstop.
Yeah, this was because that was 2018, 2019 offseason. TA's first big year was 2019. This is before he was literally like a really bad hitter.
Yeah.
Like,
and still, you're not moving.
I mean, you love the confidence, but at the same time, dude, come on.
And I know we're kind of all over the place here, but I agree with Bologna in the comments here. I 1,000,000% want Eloy to do a rehab stint in Charlotte before he comes
for sure. I saw his comment on Wednesday before their game, and he was saying I think because he said like, oh, I hope to be back next week, and I hope that meant like to a rehab
in Charlotte,
yeah, because there's no way you just bring him out.
And they just tried that, and he was shit for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like he needs that rehab, I think.
Especially when you got Berger hitting like he is.
Well,
It'd be one thing if they needed.
Let's talk about Jake Berger.
Well, yeah, okay, let's bring that up. So Eloy comes back. What do we do?
He's gonna get sent down again because you can't have both of them on the.
I know.
roster.
No, you send out. Is Hazley still on the roster?
I think they swapped him with Marisnik.
I can't keep track. I don't think I can remember a time when the White Sox had so many transactions.
No, but although you kind of need that Marisnik type guy because they really do not. They need a fourth outfielder.
True.
We saw when they tried Rami out there and he sucked. You can't play they need a fourth outfielder.
Well, that's the guy. Okay, so if Marisnik is all right, keep Marisnik because I think Rami was just called back up, right, or reactivated from the injured list. Get Romy the hell out of there.
I'm gonna shock all of you. I'm gonna shock all of you right now. I'm gonna shock everybody that listens to this show for more than a little bit. I'm at the point where I tried Jake Berger at second base.
Oh, I did not think this day was gonna happen.
What do they got to lose? What do they got to lose?
More games.
How?
We can barely. You were dying on the hill. We're like, this guy can barely play third base.
You're the number one guy.
Now you have to go to second base where you have to be more mobile over there. I'm fine with the occasional spot start with Berger at third base.
I think WRC plus wise, Elvis, I believe, is the worst second baseman in baseball. Jake, who I've admittedly said it on this show a bunch of times, has impressed me with his defense at third this season. What do they have to lose by keeping his bat in the lineup with Eloy's and throwing him at second base?
Well, I can tell you one thing, though. I can tell you one thing, because you've been saying it. He's not an agile dude.
No, he's not.
One bad move, something goes wrong in the knee, the hamstring, the back, the oblique, and then you just lost your best power.
We already the defense is the starting rotation right now. You got a lot of guys that are not pitching well. You can't be affording to make these guys get extra out. Like Lance Lynn, the way he's pitching, you really want to have Berger out there risking the chance making Lance Lynn get more outs than he has to. With Michael Kopech, the same thing. Their defense is bad as it is. So the solution you have is to make it worse by throwing Jake Berger at second.
And the thing with Jake Berger too, he's got the knee injuries, right? So playing third, it's a first step, or Achilles, excuse me. It's a first step. It's one step move. There's not as much lateral movement as a third baseman that could theoretically re-injure something, as opposed to at second, where now you have to be fluid in both directions. You have to cover a lot of ground. There's a lot more room for re-injuring stuff too. So it's also a health issue for a guy like that, because you could at least cut the field in half, put him at third base, which is a good thing.
And I would imagine it would affect the bat too, because all of a sudden he has to learn a new position, which is going to take a lot more time to focus on. Where now all he has to focus on is just going up there and hitting bombs. Now you just hey, you got to learn how to play second base and get that footwork down good. I think it would have an effect on the power.
And the other part of that is because before teams have done it with guys who have been the older stiff veteran third baseman. The Reds did it with Mike Moustakas. They just signed all these dudes and they try to stick him at second base. But before then, you could shift, you could hide guys.
That's true.
You can't do that anymore.
Right?
You can't do that anymore.
I mean, Elvis Andrew right now is a negative .1 WAR. I'm just
Elvis Andrew is
a professional infielder, or Berger. Let's be honest.
But I mean, Elvis isn't hitting. At least Jake would hit, is my theory here. If you're going to be bad at second base, at least be bad with a guy that can hit.
In theory, he would be hitting there, but I still think,
and you guys all make very valid points, and I'm not arguing that. It's just That's how frustrating. I forgot who put up the stat, but the White Sox middle infield right now is like a joke.
Yeah.
With combined WAR between shortstop.
Oh yeah,
and
the
second
rankings
baseman.
for position.
Yeah.
So make a move then. Get your front office, shake off the malaise, and figure something out besides.
They had
just
all off season to do that shit.
Yeah.
Everyone knew they needed to make a move during the off season. I mean, what are they going to do now?
The White Sox have needed a second baseman for a decade.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think at this point, there are players out there that can fill a gap. But I mean, Andrews was supposed to be that guy. He's not being that guy, unfortunately.
If only someone would predict that he would recess towards the.
Yeah, who would have known that?
Who would have said that? What show would have said that?
Some assholes that are highly attractive. But I don't know. You got to find the market. You sound like Jasper. Are you guys familiar with Jasper talk?
He's better noodles.
Sorry, anyway. You've got Josh Harrison's just hanging out, playing some MLB The Show at home. Why not?
Josh Harrison starts for the Phillies, bro.
Oh, he's with the Phillies now? Oh, I didn't realize that.
He started the year with them.
He hit a bomb against the White Sox.
Yeah,
he's not playing. He's not playing, right?
Yeah. No, he is. He hit a nuke against the Sox this year.
Is he DHing? Because I mean, you got Stott and you got.
You already have. No, like that's the thing. The problem is
they don't need Harrison.
The problem is that they just have too many DHs in first base.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're chock full of them. Trade one of them and get a second baseman.
Like that's the thing. This might hurt White Sox. That's the other thing. They're 13 games under 500. I don't even Is it gonna matter? And do you even trust? I want to get to this point too, and you briefly mentioned it earlier, Mitch, because you can't trust the guys running the show because they've proven. Rick Hahn's been the GM since 2012. It's a decade.
Trust a wet fart more than I trust our GM right now.
He's had like two completely different ways to go at this, and they've both just been terrible, awful both times.
Terrible. I trust.
There's no chance in hell you can trust this dude with another rebuild.
I trust a wet fart after drinking tap beer all night and polishing off White Castles to close the night. I trust the next day fart after that.
And I looked this up because I remember writing about it either 2016 or 2017, right after they announced, they made the big proclamation, we're tired of being mired in mediocrity. Can't get it out. Whatever.
Mired in mediocrity.
The fact is, we all know who you're talking about. So
and
what you're saying.
They're like, all right, we're going to rebuild. And I was like, I wrote about the thing. I'm like, Rick Hahn is always going, and this was back like 2017, I think. Rick Hahn is always going to have he has the best job security in Chicago. And it is true. Why? Because even when he fails, there are always going to be a portion of fans who are going to be like, well, I mean, it's the owner that he's not going to let him spend as much. It's like, oh, well, I mean, if he had an owner who would open the pocketbooks more, this team could be more aggressive. But even when we've seen it, and it hasn't been as much as other organizations in these past few years. I mean, the Sox have been close to 200 million, and the guys that he goes after have failed.
And I think that's the biggest problem with Rick, because objectively speaking, when he was trading away a lot of those guys, I think we thought at the time, and even he got pretty good returns on a lot of those guys. But even when before, when they were mired in mediocrity, when they thought they had a team that could contend with Chris Sale and Jose Abreu, it was identifying the outside pieces to bring in to supplement that roster that always blew up in his face. The trading for James Shields didn't work out. The bringing in Brett Laurie and Todd Frazier, all those guys,
Jeff Samardzija,
didn't work. Jeff Samardzija didn't work out. And the last couple of years, Grandal, objectively a disaster. I mean, all the guys he brings in, because I think the money's been there. He's just spent it poorly or does a horrible job identifying the guys to bring in. Keuchel, another perfect example. That's where his biggest issue, I think, has been as his general manager.
Go out and cherry pick the Reds. Go get me Jonathan India, or I don't know.
That's gonna be a tough one to get though.
There's got to be somebody.
Nick Madrigal, you can get him.
No, stop with that. Trade the Dodgers.
Can you believe this, Kevin? This was maybe the number 2 Nick Madrigal fan 24 months ago.
I renounced that as soon as he went to the Cubs. There was a whole renouncing of that.
I think you knew all along. So
there was a.
I think you honestly. Knew all along.
Honestly, another hit.
Yep, I honestly thought that he would be the high average solid defensive player. Especially after he won the Gold Glove in AAA the year before he came up, and it was like, all right, there's that defense we all know, we've heard about. Now I just need you to be a single double guy. Oh, Yaz came up limping out of the box after that hit.
No, of course he did.
More Sebi time.
By
the way, Sebi Zavala, great defensively, but I was looking at his numbers.
They've always been pretty ass.
It's really weird with Sebi. I feel like I can always call a Sebi bomb.
Ooh. Well, you got to share those.
You have to let me know the next time.
Well, no, it's like
Zord hasn't been on the White Sox often, but when he does, he makes money on a Sebi bomb.
I don't do it pregame. It's more like when he's coming up to bat, I'm like, Sebi bomb. Oh, they're pitch running for Yaz, and he looks pissed off.
There's our boy Adam Hazley.
This is Yasmani Grandal is another guy who's just been on the verge of being on the injured list for like a week and a half, I think. I think ever since the end of the Cincinnati series, he had back spasms. Then he came out against the Royals, didn't play 3 games, and now he's back, and now he's hurt again.
It's always when he's in the middle of a heater. Like he was hot in July when he went down with that knee thing. When he went down last year, he was in the midst of like a 4 or 5 game hitting streak, and then he goes down against the Rangers on a hit, and then now he's batting close to like 270 something, which is unheard of for Yaz, and he goes down again after another hit.
Short answer, Yumper, no.
No, I think it depends on how much the White Sox eat the money.
Well,
if you eat
that's why it's no, because they're not going to do that.
I mean, they did with Fleury. They still owe him $5 million. They did that with Dallas Keuchel.
The Sox are paying a lot of guys
to go away. Yeah, I mean,
but I think Yaz they just ride out because
I mean,
you're not getting anything for him.
Yaz is that car in the old commercial where the dude rips the door off. Like he's just, it's just. I root for Yaz.
It's tough because of the money.
I want him to be great, but the money's rough, and it's just knees and catchers, man.
All right. Hey, do you remember this famous trade scenario back in what was like December? So, Grandal for Madrigal. Cubs take all the money.
Yeah.
and then we'll dump off Tucker Barnhart to you guys too. You guys can take him.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. This is a good point. I forget which podcast it was, but I want to but like the White Sox, you talk about bad development. This is also going back to the Rick Hahn indictment. They're AAA Charlotte, which is like the guys supposed to be like on the cusp of coming up to the major leagues, are a bunch of washed up veterans. They got Clint Frazier, scrub. They had Billy Hamilton, cast off. Jake Marisnick there because he didn't make the team. Victor Reyes.
Billy Hamilton is a problem on the base path. He can't get there himself. But once he runs for someone,
fair enough. I do like Billy.
He has a purpose.
Victor Reyes, another cast off. The White Sox picked up. Like that's the AAA Charlotte outfield right now. There is no young guys up, and I guess you got Oscar Cola, who probably should be in the majors right now. But like you're looking at the outfield of these guys, it's like Jesus Christ, they got no young talent that can play the outfield. That's AAA.
Well, you don't need him. You guys got Andrew Benintendi for 4.5 more years. And then you got Luis Robert locked up.
Benintendi's starting to come around. The Benintendi deal, it still does not look good right now, but I feel like he's still going to be solid this year.
I know that Pedro Grifol was made fun of because I think he had a quote being like, at the end of the season, you'll see that, Benintendi, what he brings to the table, because obviously he's kind of been sucky for 6 weeks. Yeah. But I think no matter what, that was a huge overpay for a guy who, again, his power.
Hold on, this is.
Did you see? Are you seeing the thing in the Rays game?
No, I'm seeing the announced attendance for tonight's White Sox game is 12,241.
Oh,
wait, is that too high, too low? What do you think?
That's really bad. I feel like, especially playing a division opponent. Oh, TA with a base. See, we gotta talk shit.
That's the thing. It's always negative reinforcement.
Yeah, we are the Chicago. We are White Sox Twitter's #1 negative reinforcement podcast.
Well, actually, you know what?
I mean,
guys, just bet against Robert and Berger to do anything the next week because we spent like half an hour sucking.
But Billy the hitter, when he comes back from the IL, he's coming back on a tear now.
Yeah. Oh, there's a big smile from TA.
See, he's happy. Right. Happy to be with the Sox.
What did he say there? Did he say anything bad about Chicago there when the camera was panned on?
Like, I love the pitch clock.
He actually said, "Fuck you, Matt Crawford."
Yeah,
which is weird.
All right.
Yeah.
What's going on? Who put
is this going in his ball sack? Yeah, it is. Or
just a moment of silence.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I saw a tweet about this. That's what this was.
Moment of silence for the boys.
Testicles.
So for all the podcast listeners,
and he's an outfielder. He's not wearing a cup. He's not wearing a cup. That you could tell.
That is no
describe what you're seeing there, Kevin, to the podcast listeners.
You're seeing an Adam Ottavino fastball right to the dick.
Yeah, he squared the bunt, which he squares up his front side a little bit. You don't do that. I've actually thrown it.
Oh, another reason, never bunt.
I hit a kid in the balls doing squeeze drills in that same situation where one got away and he opened up his front side and it hit him right in the. That one looked like it hurts a ton, but yeah, it's just a fastball to the penis.
Well, for those of you listening in podcast form, what Fitz just pulled up there was Marcus Stroman missing the plate on a pitch, as per usual. No location.
That was Adam Ottavino, dude.
Was it Ottavino?
Yeah. They all look alike to you, Mitch?
I guess so.
Well, he used to be 0 with the Mets.
He was number 0, I thought. Pull that back up. What number was that?
Number 0.
No, that's right. It was
wait. Wasn't Stroman 0? Okay, I was looking at the number. I don't see colors though.
I'm just he says from Missouri with his Busch Light hat on.
Adam Ottavino in the number 0 jersey missed the plate by a lot, and some poor bastard for the Rays that was squaring up the ball.
He was trying to do like a drag bunt.
Mitch, try to guess his name. Let's see where this goes. Pull him up again. What does he look like? I want to see what Mitch comes up for his name.
Is this Marcus Stroman?
I'm sorry, Mitch. You just put it on a tee.
Guilty as charged. I thought Stroman was 0 though.
There he is. Look at that.
I'm not well versed in Cubs baseball.
A lot of quality starts this year.
I am still trying to figure out a second baseman they could trade for. I haven't stopped thinking about that.
Miles Mastroboni, couple hits.
What number is Stroman this year?
Absolutely faced 6, isn't he? Or
damn, who else just got an RBI?
Maestro made a really nice play earlier.
Another base hit RBI. White Sox kicked the extra point. They're up 7-1 right now.
Cleveland sucks. Oh, their offense. I'm surprised you guys are doing this against their pitching. Good for you guys. Maybe you're turning the corner.
Oh no, he wears number 0. Sorry, Stroman wears 0.
Yeah. That was 0, wasn't it?
That's why. I was telling Mitch. Yeah, he saw the 0. He saw the. He was still.
How the table?
Mets. He was still thinking Mets.
See.
My, how the turntables. Yeah.
Gonna blame the fine people of Missouri for corrupting me.
I'm still gonna do that, but
happy to do that. Happy to do that.
I mean, I'm literally on MLB.com's like prospects page right now, seeing who the White Sox could possibly trade for. That's where we're at in this right now. And there's none of them that I think they'll actually give up. Ooh, Luis Robert wanted to hit that ball on the fucking Dan Ryan and he missed, but
he did that his first at bat too. You can tell.
Out, he's out.
Got him.
Beautiful pitch. Kevin, this is a side note. There's just a play at the plate from the Cubs game. But every fly ball in Houston looks like a 500-foot home run to left field. Like the camera goes just straight up, and you're like, shit, it's gone into the Crawford boxes.
It feels so tiny. Like it's
315 to the left.
I mean, they used to call it the juice box back in the day for obviously good reason.
Do you guys miss? Side note, more on Houston. Do you guys miss the giant pole in center, the giant flag pole that was on the field?
I was thinking about that actually. I miss the thought that someone could run into it like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
The hill was hilarious.
The hill was absolutely hilarious. Like the person who thought of that should never be able to ever have a baseball thought again.
Yeah, didn't they have the
guys got a great fucking idea. Hear me out. We'll put a hill in center field with a pole. People will love it. These multi-million-dollar athletes, they're gonna go crazy for it. It's gonna be great.
I mean, the other idea was an alligator pit, but that got shut down.
It's like a when you unlock those things on like MLB Slugfest, just like moats in the outfield.
Slugfest was a very good game.
Not nearly as dumb as the pole, but I thought it was funny when Miami had the fish tank behind home plate, and all the fish were getting like traumatized by like fastballs or like foul balls that would hit inside.
Foul tips straight into the glass,
with like PTSD.
And then they moved it to the outfield, and dudes are hitting homers off it now. There's a Shark Tank or a Rays tank out there. Ooh, Jackson Holiday, 5-hit game. God damn. Why can't we?
I think he's like he's still 18, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna be very good.
Yeah, he can't drink.
That guy's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's against, it's against Winston-Salem.
All right. Hey, all right. Just an off night, Zoe. Come on. Just an off night.
God damn it.
That always sucks when you see like these like top prospects and you're like, oh, it's against our affiliate. Right.
Yeah, it's shit. God damn it. Speaking of though hot players though, we were saying before the show, Suzuki's been real hot for the Cubs.
Suzuki's on fire. So the amount of shit that Cubs fans were talking about Seiya Suzuki, you would have thought that he was just like league worst player for a year.
I know, right? Couldn't be me.
So
Talking
strange.
shit about Seiya, couldn't be me.
So strange.
He definitely falls into that category of players that get unfair criticism, I believe.
And like I get some of the rate because like he came. It was basically just against the Marlins. He kept coming up against the Marlins. Guys, it was like bases loaded twice or runners at first and second, and he hit into like 3 consecutive double plays. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? Come on, get a hit. Don't, or at least hit the ball in the air. Fine. But even if you take away those, it was literally just those. It was like 4 or 5 games against the Marlins where he just had brutal times to hit ground balls in big spots. If you take away all just like those 6 games against the Marlins, his numbers just look normal. They look good.
Yeah.
And fans were like, get this guy out of here. I can't believe the Cubs signed this guy for $85 million. Send him to AAA. This guy's a bust. This guy's Kosuke Fukudome 2.0 racist, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
like, come on.
And they think they're going to get Ohtani with that.
Current update, too, because he's 3 for 3 tonight with 2 homers, 3 RBI, runs scored. He is now at 286 batting average and 858 OPS. Who complains about an 858 OPS at this point? There's nothing to complain about.
No, I'd take that all day.
WRC plus was a little bit down.
So what is he up to? Like 5 home runs now? And again, I get it. Home runs aren't.
He's hit 4 in the last 4 days.
Yeah, and I think he had the first game back. So I think he has 5 home runs this season. I think he leads the outfield. Or no, he's second behind Cody Bellinger. I think Ian Happ has 4 home runs, and everybody else who's filling in wasn't that good. And Cody Bellinger has 7. So I think he's already second out of outfielders in home runs.
But what about Cody Bellinger?
Yeah, he's got 5 and 17, Ribby.
Cody Bellinger made a great catch, and then he got hurt on the play. Yeah. And I'm very concerned that he's going to be on the injured list. Because he hasn't played the last 2 games.
That extension.
And isn't Wisdom tied for the league lead in home runs?
I think he has been for a while. I don't know if Alonso's passed him again, but I think he has.
He's very, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I can definitely be way wrong here. He's very much a 2 outcome hitter, right?
Oh yeah, he's been.
Okay,
he has been walking a little more this year, which is so he's becoming more of the 3 outcome guy than just home run strikeout.
The old Adam Dunn special. There was nothing better than going to the ballpark as a kid and watching an Adam Dunn cycle. You always hoped you could see a walk, a strikeout, and a home run, and then you saw an Adam Dunn cycle.
I think he's when I was a kid. He's like over 3 with a couple of strikeouts tonight, Wisdom. But I think he entered the game with like a 358 on base percentage, or around 350. He'll take that, and he's hitting for power. So
that works.
And then Christopher Morel, 5 home runs in 8 games.
Yeah, that kid. We've been high on him though on this show for a while. I feel like even before Mitch started with us, like we were high on Morel.
Yeah, because he came up in May, which I think was a couple months before Mitch came out.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. I know that a lot of Cubs fans have been shitting on the Cubs, being like, "Why did this guy start off AAA?" But I didn't like the move, like just based on some of the guys that they picked over Morel. But I got the thought because, like, Kevin, you pointed out Christopher Morel for like the last 2 months was terrible. He had like a 40% strikeout rate. He was hitting like 150. He was bad. And, like, he needed to work on plate discipline. And even right now that he's still up, he's still striking out a shit ton. But if he keeps hitting for power, obviously it's a very small sample size. And like we're gonna see how it extends as he keeps playing. But there's like legitimate reasons for him to like still develop because he had only played 9 games at AAA before. So I got the all right, fine, give him more time to develop. But again, he was like the best baseball player in the minor leagues. Yeah, they get 1,200 OPS.
Yeah, and right now he is a better version of what Patrick Wisdom is. He's because the streakiness, and both of those guys seem to come out of the gate really strong, and then once the league gets a little bit of time to see them, they have to wait until the offseason to make those adjustments. They make the adjustments in the offseason, and then they come out really hot again. And you hope with Morel that isn't the case, that maybe he did learn how to adapt, but there's so much minus the defense, which is really kind of not great, is how much he gives a Javi vibe in a lot of the way, he's the way he swings, there's no shorten up, the way he plays, obviously, he plays with his, heart in the sleeve or whatever, the same way there's a lot of Javi comps there. So it's how he adapts and adjusts in about 120, 130 at bats. Last year he didn't adjust. And between that and Wisdom, I'm a little bit worried now. Wisdom's supposed to be eating it up right now, and at this point in the season, before he goes cold. And right now, he struck out 3 more times tonight. He's down to 233. He's got the high OPS because of the home runs that come in bunches too. But you can't have 2 of those guys in the lineup at the same time to have a consistent scoring.
Give credit to the on base.
Yep, the on base
well above average.
It is. He's taking walks, but he is.
That's important too. You can't just be like, he's hitting 233. I don't care if Patrick Wisdom hits 30. If he has a 350 on base percentage and keeps slugging 550, I'll take that. That means he's getting on base a lot.
Mm-hmm. Again, his runs production is, a lot of the times over the course of 4 offers and then a good game, and that sucks. That's not good. But the thing is, it's just power pitchers. Don't put them out there against power pitchers. Allow them to face the lefties and non-power pitcher. And it's exactly, be a manager. Manage, play the matchups. And that's the thing with Chris Morel. I think he eats power pitchers because he's got such incredible bat speed. And the way that he the way he does it. So, you can have those guys kind of rotating around and use Wisdom as what he's supposed to be. And, when Mervis finally really figures it out, I think, yesterday, I think he got a couple more swings that got him up where he needs to be. But these guys need to go out there and they need to be seen. And adjust. And that's what with Morel. That's the question. Will he adjust when the time comes?
So I don't mean to butt in here, but I've been a big, let's give Pedro some slack type guy. And I know they're up 7-1, but he let Clev go out for the 7th inning and he just loaded the bases with no outs now.
That seemed like a perfect time, 7-1, to start that inning, to put Crochet in, ease him back in.
Yes, ease him back in. Or he's going to Raylo right now, but bro, you don't give Clev that inning, especially. All right, you give Clev the inning, but then as soon as he lets one guy on base, you pull his ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now they have bases loaded, no outs, and again they have a 6-run cushion, but didn't
they have a day off Monday?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did Giolito go who pitched?
Did
he go 7 innings?
7.
The pitching staff is getting slightly better. They only had one way to go.
The only excuse I was going to give Grifol is bullpen's worn out, but
no, they had a day off and they just got Garrett Crochet. And I totally agree, Mitch. That's a perfect time to put in the guy you just got back from the injured reserve.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing last night in the night. I get why they put Joe Kelly, and you don't want to mess around. You get the win, but this would have been a good time. I think Joe Kelly, by the way, though, he's been lights out. This is finally the guy we thought we were
trade
getting.
piece.
Yeah, no, for sure. Honestly, no, sell high.
Yeah,
that's easy.
Well, before we get back to the Sox, I need to bring it up because you guys saw it up and close for a couple of years. But now, Kevin, Nick Madrigal, what do you do?
I don't know. He's not really thriving playing sparingly. So I think that really hurts him in that manner, the fact that he doesn't play every day. But I don't know what else you can do with him other than bop him.
Send him to AAA, get him every day at bats, get him in a groove.
That's the only thing that you really can do. And how is he handling it?
He was playing every day last year. He was bad. He's been playing recently because Nico Horner's been out. He's been playing for a couple weeks or the last week. Again, very small sample size. I'm not going to shit on him on that. I'm shitting on him he's almost had the same amount of plate appearances with the Cubs as he has with the White Sox.
Aldo, care to answer?
And he's been terrible. Who does? Again, I don't hate guys. I get annoyed when the Cubs, because again, this isn't on the players. This is on the management. This is on the front office being like, let's sign a guy who hasn't been good for 5 years, and Eric Hosmer, and then okay, fine, let's diminish his role. And then David Ross still puts him in, and then he's putting at least now Eric Hosmer's batting like 8th. So there's good.
Simple question.
I answered. I don't hate I hate like bad people.
Who annoys you more?
Oh, who annoys me more? This season,
that's the
this
big
season is Eric Hosmer,
because
Eric Hosmer was like an everyday starter. Nick Magical was starting like 2 to 3 times a week. But now, this past week, it's Nick Magical. Eric Hosmer's on the back burner. Eric Hosmer on the bench where he deserves to be. But Nick Magical's starting more, and he's
that Mervis season, baby.
Let me ask
Nick
you guys,
Magical.
I mean, obviously, he wouldn't fetch a lot, but do you think there's any value to Magical based on his age?
Not right now.
And his contract, and
he's been. That's the thing. The only thing they can do right now, because again, I think I'm with Kevin too. Like, he's been used. He's kind of been like a in and out of the starting role, because there has been some weeks where he gets 3 to 4 starts, and again, that's not every day, but it's half the time. And he's been bad. The only thing you can do right now is send him to AAA. Hopefully, he gets it going there. Maybe he just does need a whole bunch of at bats. Maybe that gets him going, because everything else isn't. And that's I do give him credit. He did learn a new position, and he's been pretty damn good at third base. So the defense has improved. I know it was shaky with the White Sox, and even when he's played second base a few times here, he's come up with some pretty nice plays. So the defense, cool, great, love it. Everything else, the base running is still bad. Him
blowing through that stop line at third base.
That was so funny. Did he do it twice now? Wasn't it twice within the last month? I saw one like on that blue hit that he probably shouldn't have went home. Or no, wait, was he trying to? There's one he blew the stop sign, and then one he tried to tag up on a ball that was like really shallowy. It was like shallow.
It was against the Cardinals last week. He tried to tag up on a fly ball.
Did anyone gift that? Because that is a phenomenal gift to have of Magical blowing that stop sign, because they had a great camera angle on it.
Oh,
like Willie Harris is there, like no, he's like halfway down the line.
He's like doing jumping jacks, like telling him to stop. The only thing he could have done differently is like pull out a big red stop sign and hold it up. But
in the Cub game, Adbert Alzolay just basically sprayed Jose Abreu's fingers all over the infield just now. He just embarrassed him. That was beat. Jose, I just thought you guys would like to know that Jose Abreu was getting.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm not trying to be a dick right now. I have no idea what happened based on your explanation there.
So he got sawed off. He got sawed off.
Okay.
He hit the ball about like he got beat.
Okay.
At first I thought he hit him in the finger.
Yeah, that's that.
Like, oh no,
it
hurt. But then I heard embarrassed him, and I was like, oh, he must have struck out, and I was wrong both times.
Where that ball was hit hurt. His fingers right now are like tingling. It hurts like hell. The bees are in the back.
Wasn't Alzolay supposed to be the next starter?
He was back in 20. That's what I brought up. I think on the playback when we did with Danny Rocket a few weeks ago. Edward Alzolay was in 2017. I remember specifically. Theo Epstein was like, "This is going to be our next top of the rotation arm." That didn't work out, but I am at least glad that he's transitioned to a nice reliever role. He's been fine.
Is it time for Kopech to move to the bullpen? Pulling out.
Did you write about that, or was it you or Craig, Mitch, who wrote that?
Who are they going to? Ian, are you still watching? Because if you're still watching, please tell me someone in the farm system that, because Davis Martin.
Oh wait,
he's cooked. Yeah. So if you move Kopech to the pen, who's your starter?
No, that's true.
That one, Jesse Schultens.
Jonathan.
That's another washed up dude. It's just that AAA.
Lordy.
Or I think the other guy I saw was because Zoe. I tried to look it up when you said that some of the guys may have passed up Davis Martin. I think the other guy was Nate Fisher.
Oh, that's
Nate
a name.
Fisher, ring a bell.
That's a name. Well, you got Noel Schultz, who's in rookie league. Sean Burke in AAA right now is doing okay. Damn, he's 6'6", 230. He's a big boy.
Yeah,
big boy.
Christian Mena is in AA. Peyton Pallette is in single A. Jonathan Cannon's in A+. Nori Vera, he fell off a lot. He's an A+. I'm just reading off Matthew
Are these
Thompson,
the
Cole
top pitching
Simmons,
prospects?
Jared Kelly. Remember him?
I do remember. What's he up to?
He's still an A+.
I can't even talk shit because remember Barrett Caraway?
Didn't he get like fat?
He grew out his hair. Definitely gained some weight. Holy Yoan Moncada. Okay. And this year in A+, he had, oh my God, he's over one with an 8.74 ERA in 4 games in 11 innings pitched. Gave up 14 hits. Jared Kelly. Remember, he was supposed to be untouchable. Yeah, David,
Right.
in the comments, like they couldn't trade him. He was like the big stud pitcher.
The BJ McLeod of
His
White Sox farm
whip
hand.
right now is 2.21. Oh my God, this guy sucks.
This is why every time there's trade discussions, and we're seeing it with the Cubs too right now, Kevin. MLB
Ian, give
pipeline.
me a pitcher. Give me a pitcher, Ian. I need a pitcher now that Davis Martin's gone.
MLB Pipeline updated their top 100 this week. Brennan Davis, who a year ago, like basically heading into spring training, he was the Cubs on MLB Pipeline. He was their number 2 prospect, and I think Baseball America had him as the Cubs' number 1 prospect. He is no longer in the top 100 for MLB Pipeline because he's been injured. Last year he was terrible. Came back from the back nerve surgery, was still bad. Had an injury in the fall. Came back this year. He's still been bad.
Bologna said Zoe could be reading names of Corn Ferry Tour golfers, and I wouldn't know the difference. Is Colson Montgomery still hurt?
Yep. Guys, I wrote about him maybe a week ago. The White Sox don't know when he's coming back.
What's wrong with him?
So he had an oblique in spring training, so that's going to keep him out for 6 weeks or so. And then Rick Hahn talked to the media at the end of April, and he said the new update was he had a setback, he had a back issue.
He didn't want to be a part of the new season of Project Birmingham, so
guess not.
Jesus Christ, was that stupid?
They said they didn't have a timetable for his return.
So Ian's my farm guy. Ian's the guy I trust with
Mania.
regards to what's going on. He said that Christian Mania was looking like he was getting ready, but his last 2 outings have been pretty rough. So it's not a good sign when I ask Ian to give me a name to be excited about, and that's the answer. Because usually he can get me going about someone, but shit, that's not great. Yeah. Fuck.
Okay. Let's get back to the title here just very quickly. If it's July and it's obvious that the Sox just aren't going to be competing, they're still below 500. They're just.
See you later, Tim Anderson.
All right. So who are you picking out? Do you have untouchables? First question.
Yes. Because I don't think you tear it down to the studs because I think you would try and replace Rick Hahn in the offseason.
All right.
Yeah, yes.
But the guys who are expiring, you can trade.
My untouchables would be obviously Luis Robert.
Okay.
Dylan Cease, I think.
Dylan Cease, I would say the way he's playing this year, I am very encouraged about Yoan Moncada.
Okay.
I wouldn't be
still got some years too.
I wouldn't be in no hurry to trade Yoan Moncada. Obviously, you're not getting rid of Andrew Benintendi because of that contract.
Vaughn, you're not getting rid of anything.
Vaughn, you're not really unloading him. I would say you probably keep Garrett Crochet just because of age and situation. Raylo, you were doing so good. He came in with bases loaded, no outs, got the first 2 guys out, and then just fucking walked Josh Bell.
Oh, it's fine. You guys still have 7-2.
I know, but still, it's like, come on.
Right, yeah, we were up 10 runs last year around this time.
Yeah, but what did I tell you guys about Cleveland's offense?
It's bad.
That shit is not sustainable.
Wow.
They are dead last in WRC plus.
I would trade Yasmani Grandal if anybody would take him.
No one's gonna take him.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, he's not gonna be here anyway. So.
I mean, I would trade Lucas Giolito.
Yeah.
He's gonna.
I would see what the market was for Michael Kopech. I wouldn't be eager.
Kopech I'd hang on to when I think you could shop.
And then
Joe Kelly, you could shop.
You could shop Joe Kelly. Someone would want a veteran.
Hendricks, I think you could shop.
Yeah.
It's just, I know, but it's such,
that's cutthroat.
I know,
like,
but we've been with them through this whole journey. But I
don't want to trade head. I was against it in the
know.
offseason, but if you're going that route, he would be a guy that's going to bring in some value.
We're trying to put personal feelings aside here, like the business side of things. I mean, Raylo would be on the market for sure. Someone would probably be like one of those girls, like I can fix him. And
the Rays would trade for him, and then he'd be an all-star.
Cy Young. I don't think anyone in the pen I would deem untouchable. I mean,
Crochet,
like I said, Garrett Crochet I'd keep, but
all right. So you're keeping Robert Moncada, obviously Benintendi because of the contract.
Seb.
Andrew Vaughn. I would trade Eloy if someone wanted him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the other big name.
It's really that's a really tough one for me because it's not for poor baseball performance. It's just he can't stay healthy, and I feel like you can get a really high return for him.
For Eloy?
Yeah.
I don't know about really high, because
you can get some solid.
You can get something because his contracts. So he's got a lot of control on that deal still.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's see. Now, are you guys saying this because you guys have trust that the White Sox will actually do the right thing and get rid of Han? Or is this more, let's cross our fingers and hopefully they do?
Well, that's
like, what do you do? Okay, follow-up question. What do you do if it's like, if from now, or from the summer, Rick Hahn's staying around? Whatever's going to happen next, Rick Hahn's going to do it. What direction do you want the team to go in? Same or
then add some pieces in the off season?
I just don't understand how, if they're that far out of it in July where you're trading these pieces we're talking about, you can justify keeping Rick Hahn in that position.
That would make sense in a normal organization. Yeah.
Right.
That's the trouble though.
Right. And so that's what makes this exercise we're doing right now like hard, because you can't really trust it. And one would think if the White Sox were in the scenario that we're hypothetically speaking about, where they're starting to sell off pieces, you would have to get rid of Rick Hahn. This is like the failure of all failures here.
And then another follow-up for that. The pieces that you get back, what do you want? Do you want younger prospect types, or do you want the MLB ready guys?
Preferably young MLB ready, but I would take highly touted prospects at this point.
Even if they're like years away?
That depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the thing.
And who we're giving up for it.
Because now,
that's a situational thing.
Like Rendell, they're offering to eat some money and give us a 12-pack. I mean, maybe we will make that deal.
You make it a 30, Reg. You got yourself a deal, boss.
Because right now I'm thinking about when you look back at, especially recently, because before, I know that everyone always points to the Dylan Cease and Eloy trade for Jose Quintana, but that is seriously an outlier. Because ever since then,
well, he got pretty good value on too.
The big trades, you're not getting.
That was the one.
You're not really getting like the top prospects back.
Well,
the Chris Sale deal was okay too.
The Lucas Giolito and Lopez trade was
a
mid-season at the time. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
like mid-season trades, because like that's the thing. Lucas Giolito, like Chris Sale still had a team-friendly deal. That's why you were able to get that value. Lucas Giolito is gonna be a free agent.
Blake Rutherford was a good mid-season acquisition at the time. It looked like it.
Okay,
you got a good. Rick Hahn's a lot better at trading the guys away than he is bringing in the talent that it's need to win. So, I think we could get some value.
Yeah. No,
you're definitely going to get value, like on some of the guys. You definitely are, yeah.
Because part of the reason why that would take this thing away from a TA going away would be knowing that you have Colson Montgomery coming up. But now with Colson Montgomery's health being this big issue that no one really fucking knows what we're going to do, that makes it a little scarier.
The thing, man. That I know. And I'm not going to shit against Colson Montgomery because I didn't see him play. I have no idea what type of hitter. But just going off the numbers, when
he went up levels, his numbers went down.
I mean, he was all right. I know he had that long on base streak, but I mean, he was okay. I know he's a great defensive guy.
Ian brings up a very good point there with the Nick Hostetler. He was always their big draft guru, and one of our always complaints are they suck. And then recently did get a promotion, and now look, all the free agents they bring in kind of suck.
Not looking good for Nick.
Wait, so
he'll be the new assistant GM when Chris Getz is promoted after they fire.
If they promote Chris Getz some GM, I might have to take a break from doing this show, from being a fan.
So bad. That would be so bad.
I don't think so, though, because a couple wins against the Twins in September, and you're back in.
Probably. That's why I hate this team so much.
Hey, we got 15 games left in the season. We're only down by 11 and a half. Yeah, we're still in it.
I hate this team so much because the reason why I say I hate this team so much is they won't let me think that they are completely out of it and suck.
I think Kevin was the one who said, the goal should be just, get to 500 by the All-Star break. And I think I asked Mitch last week, at what point do you just call it, at what point do you basically wave the white flag? So Zoe, for you,
I feel
at
like
what point are you just they're dead? They're dead.
If they're at 500 by the All-Star break, I'm gonna guess that's gonna put them within 5 games of the division in this in the AL Central. So if that's the case, I'm gung ho. Let's go. Now, if we get to the All-Star break and they're more than 10 games out, blow it all up.
White Sox are 5 games under. They're 7.5 games back at the All-Star break. What are you doing?
7.5 games. I would severely
5 games under 500. You're not.
I don't care about the under 500 part. I care about the division part, like how far they're out of the division.
7.5, because the All-Star break's not really the halfway point.
It's a little bit past it.
It's a little past it, but I mean, if that's the case, the scenario that Aldo just laid out, then I would start seriously shopping like a Lucas Giolito type.
I would do it almost even I think this stretch of games against the division, because I think 15 of their next 18. Well, I mean, after starting with last night's game, obviously, are all division opponents. This is going to be kind of a good litmus test of where's this team at. Because if you bomb here and you play below 500 ball during that stretch, then now will be the time to sell the players you want to. Because the sooner you sell, the more value you're going to get for them. The longer you wait, you're just hurting your odds. This is kind of the stretch where it's all right, let's see if they're serious about making.
Well, Gavin Sheets about to get tossed. I mean, this ump earned this. Gavin Sheets giving him the business. Pedro touched the ump. God damn it! You can't touch the ump, dude.
Wisdom went to a big double there.
I mean, that was way behind. That was a brutal at bat, though. If you go on the pitch, whatever for that at bat, I think he got one call right.
Pedro just saved Gavin, though. Did Gavin get tossed? I don't think Gavin got tossed there, though. Did he? Pedro might have saved him.
Someone got tossed. I don't know who.
I think it was Pedro for touching him. We'll find.
Who are? I mean, I guess this. I mean, we were saying this last year. I guess it's still kind of early. Well, we're a quarter of the way of the way in. But have you guys started looking at who are the top farm systems? Who can you get for Lucas Giolito?
Who's got the top farm systems?
Doesn't Baltimore still have a pretty good? Because that would be a perfect
farm
match.
Systems usually mean bad teams, and they're not the ones trading for Lucas Giolito.
Baltimore, if they can stay
hold on. Basically, you're looking farm systems, best farms. This is when they did the whole executives voting thing.
Okay.
So for the best farm system, Baltimore got 50% of the vote. The Dodgers got 21%. The Cardinals got 9%. The Diamondbacks got 6%. And there was 5 other teams that received votes. The other teams were the Cubs, the Guardians, the Rays, the Reds, and the Yankees.
Who should we trade? For Lucas Giolito?
Ian saying the Braves and the Pirates as well, or something.
I thought the Braves had dead last farm system.
I don't know, but I could see and I know you guys aren't going to like to hear it. If the Cardinals are in contention, Lucas Giolito getting traded to the Cardinals,
I could see
that's a fit. And although you're not wrong, the Orioles could very much be making a run at a wild card.
Yeah.
I mean, well, fuck, the Yankees suck.
Morel. Sorry.
You're not getting a top prospect for Giolito, though, just because he would be a couple month rental. Clink. So you're not getting.
Unless you, like, it's one of those things where you pre-agree, like, we'll trade him Giolito and he's going to sign an extension with you. You know what I mean? Like, you can pull one of those, but.
You could package deal. Well, I mean, Baltimore already has a couple stud relievers at the end there. But maybe to the Dodgers or something. Dodgers just thought maybe lost.
The Dodgers are going to be in that like purgatory area because they're losing a lot of pitchers and a lot of. Well, I mean, like Gavin Lux is out for the year, but like the Dodgers could definitely be a buyer.
And maybe a Lucas Giolito, Liam Hendricks package.
I mean, the Dodgers might be a little gun shy about trading that for one of our closers after the Kimbrel shit, but
I think Craig Kimbrel is still bad. I think it's the Phillies now. I think he's still
he's still bad. But the Dodgers.
Thanks a lot. Who was it still at the time? Was it Cooper or Katz? Thanks a lot, Katz.
The Dodgers farm system's just absolutely loaded. Like they got their number one prospect is the kid.
I'm telling you, Kevin, all these
the
fly
catcher
balls look like
named Diego. That kid's very good. Bobby Miller's a stud pitcher. Michael Bush can play second base. Gavin Stone's a stud. Ryan Pipiat.
I mean, you just want him around to see how fans are going to say that name.
Yeah. They're top 5 prospects for the Dodgers. I'd take any one of them in a heartbeat.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're going to get a top 5.
Probably not. Unless it's Lucas and Liam. Then you can maybe...
Yeah. Then you can get one.
But I really like Bobby Miller. I think the kid's gonna be fucking nasty. But
I know you guys said you guys brought up the TA as the trade candidate, but like he's tanking his value. Like our team's gonna be.
But you have another year of control with TA, and the history's there. So you would get a top prospect for TA, and just the marketability you're getting with TA too, because he could easily come in, become a face of a franchise.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that. We've seen with other guys, like he wouldn't have that built-in love with the fan base.
Dodgers very much need a shortstop,
they do.
And the Dodgers fans wanted him in the offseason.
Padres number 11 prospect just threw
Dodgers
8 innings of combined no last night. Who is the Padres?
Talk to me when it's not a combined no-ho.
Who are we talking about?
No-ho? Yeah.
No-ho.
Yeah, I'm not pronouncing that name, but all
Go for it.
Yarrow Ira Arte.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it in the. Oh, I can't. It's Jairo, and then his last name is Iriarte.
Put that in the Google machine. See what they come up with for translation.
Yeah, but just put it. Have Google say it. Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me copy his name here.
A lot of the press books actually have the phonetical spelling.
Well, let me pull out my.
Didn't the White Sox do that with Luis Robert too?
Yep.
How do you get it to say it?
Type in, put in the name, and then put pronunciation, and there should be a thing at the top when they click.
Oh, there we go.
Ariarte.
Yeah, that makes it. There you go.
Ariarte.
Yeah. Don't trade for him just because I don't want to say his name.
I'll be here for it. Be great.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna get interesting how the season plays out. I'm very curious to see how this goes. And Rick Hahn, even in some of his latest interviews, is like, I know my head is on the chopping block. Like, I know my job is.
Oh, now he does.
Oh, yeah. Now.
Earlier it was, well, I mean, none of these fans have yet to come up to me.
Guys, I'm fine, but I'll let you think that my job is on the line. I've had these talks already.
My job is on the hot seat. I had Andrew Benintendi put a heating pad under my desk earlier.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
Rick
my buns are toasty.
It's hot.
But,
damn, Joe Kelly out here throwing.
Are gonna watch the game this weekend, and we hope we can come up with a W. I mean, statistically, I think it's a high likelihood that we pick up a 12-pack of Miller Lite this weekend. And,
Joe Kelly out here pumping 94-mile-an-hour knuckle curves like they're going out of style.
Trade him back to the Dodgers.
He does want to go back to LA. He wanted to sign to LA, and they didn't want him back. Yeah. They knew something.
But he's definitely...
He wasn't going to be able to pitch on back-to-back days until the middle of the season.
His last couple outings, though, he's definitely looked vintage.
He's been good this year. No, he's been one of their best relievers.
Like, this is what you guys thought you were getting.
What we thought we were getting.
Yeah. When Tony gave him a call.
See, Tony was the problem. Joe Kelly's
don't even start with this shit. I ain't got time to go through this shit.
Hey, I said this last week, but Rick Renteria was the last good White Sox manager, and you can't convince me otherwise.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the book's still out on Pedro, but what a scoop by Andrew Vaughn. You're not wrong, though.
He had one chance of the winning team, and he took him to the playoffs.
I mean, that was the worst playoff series I've ever seen, but yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
But he got dealt some bad cards there, too. Eloy got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Crochet had to leave early.
I mean, yeah, 2020, that was Dylan. He had Dylan Cease coming out of the bullpen.
Yep.
Game 3.
Did he? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Dude, Mark Leiter Jr. against lefties.
Because that rotation was kind of ass outside of Keuchel and Giolito when you look at it.
I've been worried there for a second, too, at that start of the inning. Better.
Yeah. I
think
Mike
Clevenger, trade piece.
I
don't know what you can get for him.
He's cursed. No one's going to want him.
6 innings, 2 runs tonight. Nah, it's not bad.
Maybe the witch's curse is wearing off.
It's like to be re-antied.
I think I can use a really good NASCAR minute right about now.
Here we go.
Oh, you're in luck.
Yeah.
Well, in that case.
So it very much makes me happy to say these words again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the NASCAR Minute with NASCAR Mitch.
All righty. This week we were at the the location of the 7500, Darlington, South Carolina. It was throwback weekend. So all the cars had these old paint schemes, except for Kyle Busch's team. They threw back to the car they won with in Vegas a couple years ago, so that was kind of lame. But all these other teams had cool paint schemes for throwbacks. Now, Ross Chastain, name that's been popping up in the headlines recently. So this is kind of an interesting nugget. His crew, like his pit crew, got hired out to race in the Xfinity race. Well, not race, but be the pit crew for Kyle Larson in the Xfinity race. Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain have had some beef in the past. Apparently, Kyle Larson made like a hand gesture to him a week back, and so they were pissed. And so they ended up winning the race for Kyle Larson in the Xfinity Series race on Saturday, but the pit crew refused to go to victory lane to celebrate with him. So the bad blood is real. Keep that in mind later on. So race is starting. Toyota looks fast again after winning in Kansas. Toyotas are good. Martin Truex Jr., he cruises to stage 1. Stage number 2, he's in the lead. No one's really challenged him all day, but here comes Ross Chastain. He has his throwback UPS color scheme for the throwback weekend. He dive bombs to the inside. He makes the first pass of Truex all day. He's back in the league. Truex has a good long run car, so he's slowly trying to run down Chastain at the end of stage 2. These are valuable playoff points on the line here. Right in front of Chastain is his teammate, Daniel Suarez. Suarez, he's about to get lapped. So Ross, uncharacteristically, he's like, hey, I'm going to give my boy a break. I'm going to ease up a bit. I don't want to lap my guy. Laps are taken away. Final lap. Truex gets close enough. He tries to dive bomb low and pin Ross high, so he gives him one lane at the top, not giving him any room. Ross is like, well, I'm not only going to take one lane, so he tries to throw the block down low. He makes contact with Truex. He hits the wall. Truex tries to pinch him more against the wall, and then after Chastain's car slaps the wall, he kicks back, hits Truex. Truex spins, takes him out of the race. He stayed in the race, but that basically threw him out of contention. So now on to stage 3 we go. Kyle Larson, who had the beef with Chastain's pit crew the day before. He starts moving up towards the front. The two are kind of battling along there, but then all of a sudden, one guy loses a tire in the back. It's Eric Jones. Tire just flies off, causes a huge wreck. It looks like the Guaranteed Rate Field parking lot after game. Absolute shit show. Cars everywhere. It's the big one, or so we thought. So they reset later in the race. Green flag stops. Pit crew's doing good job. Chastain back up front. Larson's in second. Then we have a wreck because Truex, he's working his way back up to the field. So he's near fourth on this final restart they got going here. Logano's to the outside. Then Logano gets T-boned by Truex. Another wreck. So they got to restart again. On this restart, Larson, he starts running to Ross Chastain a little bit high to the wall, doesn't want to give him any room. Ross hits the wall a little bit, and that's when the big wreck occurred. So then they have to restack him. They judge Ross was in first. So Ross now has a decision. He's like, hey, he just ran me into the wall. Which way should I go? Oh. I know he's mad at me. I've run him into the wall before. I'm going to take the low lane to protect myself. So Larson's on the high side. Chastain's on the low side. Ross immediately gives him no room, runs him up the track. Larson's like, I'm not lifting. Screw that. So he holds his ground. Chastain just runs him out of room, just way too aggressive. He gets T-boned by Larson. Larson's so pissed off. Usually during a wreck, you back it down, you hit the brake. He's just full throttle, just pushing him across the track, plowing him, for a solid 15 seconds. In the spotter, you're listening to it. Ross Chastain's radio is still pushing you. Still pushing you. If you watch the video, it's literally Ross Chastain's sideways, and Larson's just all pissed off and dumps him. His crew chief comes on the radio, Jesus Christ, Chevrolet, Ross Chastain has wrecked us 3 weeks in a row. Something needs to be done about this. Sounds like an angry old man. But it forces an overtime restart. So those two were out of the race because of the wreck. Overtime restart. We got William Byron, the guy I met in the Hooters parking lot last week, along with Kevin Harvick, Busch Light guy. He's on the high lane. Byron's on the low lane, Harvick's on the low lane. Byron's on the high lane. Byron gets the better restart. He drives away. He wins the race. He is 1-0 since I met him in a Hooters parking lot. That's his third victory of the season. William Byron having a phenomenal year. Takes the W on throwback weekend with the Jeff Gordon paint scheme. There you have it. Your NASCAR Minute.
This Padres pitch is shitting bricks right now. Why? Because Danny fucking Burgess is up and back. Guy just ordered Shake Shack straight to the dugout.
I forgot to add really quick, and now this is optional, but so I've been trashing RCR, Richard Childress Racing, Kyle Busch, as we know, besides Chase Elliott. He's one of my main culprits on the podcast, where I'm always trashing Kyle Busch and RCR and Austin Dillon because his granddad is a team. But last week, as I mentioned, I met Austin Dillon on the pickleball court. Nice guy. So I'm like, okay, Austin Dillon, I got to stop ripping on him. Today, for the job at ADC 17, because there's a race coming to St. Louis. And Zoe, I know you have to watch a NASCAR race, so I think you should just drive down to St. Louis and we'll have a good old tailgate, and that could be the way you secure punishment. Yeah. But anyways, part of the coverage for the news station, they're letting have us preview some of the race. So I got to talk to Kyle Busch's crew chief, Randall Burnett, today, who's from Fenton, Missouri, and I got a quick soundbite. If anyone wants to hear about what he has to say about Kyle Busch's driver, which interview has not been released yet, if you want it for the NASCAR Minute. If we're not interested, you can call it a night.
Well, I have a couple questions.
Go for it.
Are you sure you met somebody at the Hooters parking lot? Because you barely mentioned it.
What, last week?
2, I just want to make sure everyone's feet are okay because Mitch is name dropping like a motherfucker. Look at you, man. You're very man about NASCAR right now. Oh, man. And also, we might have to reevaluate our pitcher scheme for the NASCAR Minute. There is a lot of man ass. There is a lot of man meat on our pitchers. I was noticing, we got Beef Loaf naked, we got Steve Stone naked, we got the coronavirus meme guy,
we added a female listener earlier. I mean, we're growing the listener.
Maloney as the pizza man. There is a lot of homoerotic. Yeah. It's
we're just giving the people what they want, so
I guess so.
Obviously,
the eggplant for 69 cents.
Yeah.
It started with our with this. I mean, this got people going, got them a little hot.
We know our demographic.
And while you were doing the NASCAR Minute, Jake Berger hit a triple. You guys heard that right?
Speed.
Yep.
I would like it in Kannapolis. The Intimidators down there used to be named after Dale Earnhardt Jr.
What's the baseball team?
Dale Earnhardt Sr., I should say. So
what's the baseball team in Kannapolis?
Now I think they're the Cannonballers. But they used to be the Intimidators after Dale Earnhardt. Right. His nickname was the
Cannonballers.
It's the Cannonballers, and I got their hat. I like their logo.
I think they have, if I'm not mistaken, they have a charity event one of the drivers hosts like a celebrity kickball or a NASCAR celebrity kickball game down there at the end of every year. And Joey Logano, not very athletic, but he's got wheels apparently. The man can run. So there you go.
I'm just mesmerized right now watching Jake Berger leg out a triple.
Did you see Rich Hill and Miguel Cabrera?
That was
race
awesome.
To first base.
That made my heart so happy because it looked like a 16-inch softball game.
Corey LaJoie puts on that tournament. That's the name that was escaping me. He's on a crappy team, so he doesn't ever mention much in the broadcast. He has a podcast though too, but he's the one that puts on that tournament, and he's usually pretty good.
Have you met him in a Hooters parking lot?
I've not met him in a Hooters parking lot.
See,
I have to use that because if I just say the name William Byron, you're not going to know who I'm talking about. So I have to put like the ad something like next to the name, so it's easy to remember. It's like flashcards for a child. If I just say William Byron, you're not going to know who I'm talking about.
That's
if
true.
I say Hooters parking lot guy William Byron, eventually it'll stick.
That's fair.
I'll stop mentioning it. That'll be the last time. You will not hear me say one more time on this podcast.
No, it was funny. It was just funny. It was just.
I just thought he was cool because like 20 minutes after the race, he's taking his girlfriend to Hooters. Like I didn't even know you could get out of the racetrack that fast. I thought he had media availability.
I honestly thought that's what all NASCAR drivers did.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
After races, they just went to Hooters.
Straight to Hooters.
Well, Ricky Bobby would always go to, what was it, Applebee's?
And why wouldn't he get there
fast? Elliott is the one that's sponsored by Hooters. He's not even sponsored by them.
Yeah.
He just really likes their wings.
Ricky Bobby's family went to Applebee's for their nice family dinners, but Ricky Bobby, he owned the bar when he was at the peak of his stardom. He owned that bar, and that's when the French dude comes in and they talk about crepes. And they're just little pancakes.
Speaking of that, so Formula One was in Miami last weekend, and a bunch of the drivers went to visit one of the race teams, RFK Racing, Brad Keselowski, the team owner. And so he's Brad Keselowski, and both of the two Formula One drivers are French. They drive for a French team. It was Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. So like the NASCAR guy comes up to him. Brad Keselowski's like, "Hey, like, have you guys ever seen Talladega Nights?" And they're like, "Oh no, we've never seen that movie." It's like, "Oh, it's hilarious! I got to show you the scene." And he pulls out his phone and he shows them the crepe scene. And like the two Formula One guys are clearly like, awesome. "What the fuck is it?" And like Brad's like laughing. He's like, "Oh, look at this! It's funny." Will Ferrell.
I respect that.
Just completely out of context. Look at this random scene.
Yeah.
It's on there. It's on Twitter. Like you can find the video. It's pretty funny though.
Fun fact: 16 of Jake Berger's 22 hits are for extra bases. He's slugging 747, dude.
Legit.
Put him at second base.
Yumper, it's Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly. I make fun of him, but he beat Tyreek Hill in a reflex competition. They had the like reflex thing. The Formula One guy.
Damn.
Tyreek Hill.
I really thought with the 7-2 lead going into the ninth inning, we'd get our Garrett Crochet debut.
Nothing yet.
Nope. They put in Graveman.
They really want this victory.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. I needed this, but also big shout out to our buddies at the 108 for actually having a legit commercial.
Oh, hilarious.
Yes,
that's awesome, man.
Hilarious.
I mean, from where, well, although it's you and I's just about 5-year anniversary of doing this show.
Congratulations.
Which is wild, but. From where we started,
right back to where we started.
Talking about shitty ass teams. From where we started 5 years ago to where we are now, I mean, obviously there's a ton of shows now, but to see, like, I feel like it's like one of us, like the 108 guys. You know, we're on the same whatever, and to see them have a legit, like, actually produced commercials for the White Sox, it's like, damn. That's really fucking cool.
Bribes and kickbacks. That's how you get things done in this city.
Well, especially in Bridgeport.
And I remember
the mob commercial, basically.
Yeah.
I remember asking Beefloaf one of the first few times we had him on, and like that's when Daniel Palka was doing his thing with the Sox, and obviously they had their connection. And I remember asking him like, who's benefited more from that relationship? And obviously at the time, Daniel Palka, MLB player, obviously him, he was getting more attention. But I mean, flash forward to now. Who's on the top of mind for most White Sox fans? It's the 108 guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Daniel Palka is, I don't know, I think he's either in the minor leagues or playing overseas. But
and I mean, yeah, and the 108 guys get brought up in broadcasts. They're talking to Brooks Hoyer. They got a commercial. It's awesome. But all right, fellas,
the benefit of Jerry having no money. Brooks Boyer doesn't have it in the budget to hire an actor, so he has
That's true too. So for NASCAR Mitch, the good Reverend K Fitz, that's all though. I'm Zoe. We'll see you guys next week.